Okay, let's talk about the device that's probably in your hand right now or sitting on your desk. We're going to dive into this hidden, high-stakes global race for the stuff that's packed inside of it, the essential materials that literally power our modern world.
So on the one hand, you have this, a sleek, beautiful piece of tech. And on the other, you've got this, the raw, kind of messy guts that make the whole thing tick. The question is, how do we get from a pile of metal to the device on our wrist? Well, the story behind that is a lot more competitive than you'd probably guess.
Yeah, seriously. The very device you're using to watch this right now, it's right in the middle of a massive global tug of war. It's a fight over resources, over supply chains, and really over the future of technology itself.
All right, so let's get into it. To really understand this race, we first have to know what everyone is running for. And we're talking about something called critical raw materials.
Now, these aren't just any old materials. They are called critical for a very good reason. They are absolutely essential to our economy, but, and this is a big but, their supply chain is super fragile. A lot of the time, the supply is concentrated in just a handful of places around the globe, which makes the whole system really vulnerable to any kind of political drama or trade issue.
And get this, the demand for these materials is just exploding. Take Europe, for instance. By 2030, its need for lithium, the key stuff in batteries, is set to jump 12 times over. 12! And for rare earth metals, which are crucial for things like motors and sensors, that's a 6-fold increase. We're not talking about a slow ramp up here. This is basically a vertical climb.
So what's pouring fuel on this fire? Well, it's two massive, world-changing things happening all at once. The green transition toward renewable energy and electric cars, and, of course, the digital revolution that just keeps rolling. And guess what? Both of them depend on the exact same limited set of materials.
So with demand going through the roof and supply chains looking shaky, governments are officially off the sidelines. They are making some really big strategic moves to make sure they can get their hands on these materials. Let's take a look at how some of the big players are handling this.
So you've got the US and the EU, and they're taking different but kind of complementary approaches. You can think of the US as the innovation engine. They're pouring money into R&D to find new materials and figure out how to use the ones we have more efficiently. The EU, on the other hand, is playing the role of the rule setter, creating strict regulations and goals to build up their own resilient circular market. Over in the US, the big centerpiece of this whole effort is the Critical Materials Innovation Hub. It's this huge team-up, bringing together the smartest people from national labs, universities, and private companies. Their mission, to innovate across the entire life of these materials, from how we get them to how we recycle them, all to protect the country from supply shocks. Now, the EU strategy is laid out in its Critical Raw Materials Act, and it is all about hitting specific numbers. They've set these really ambitious goals for 2030. Get at least 10% of what they need from mining within the EU, process 40% of it there, and get 25% from recycling. And this last one is huge. They're mandating that no more than 65% of any key material can come from a single foreign country. Basically, they're saying we can't be that dependent on anyone.
Okay, so that's the high-level government game plan. But what does this actually look like on the ground, for a company that actually makes the stuff we use every day? Let's zoom in on one you might have heard of, Apple.
This quote from Apple's environmental VP, Lisa Jackson, really nails it. It's a two-part mission for them. Keep making the best tech, but at the same time, innovate on how to lower their environmental impact. The two things go hand in hand.
And they've got the numbers to prove this isn't just talk. Since 2015, Apple has slashed its greenhouse gas emissions by over 60%. But here's the wild part. During that same time, their revenue grew by over 65%. That completely shatters that old idea that you can't be good for the planet and good for business at the same time.
And this wasn't some sudden change of heart. It's a long-term strategy. They set their starting line back in 2015, went carbon neutral as a corporation in 2020, and now they're actually selling carbon-neutral products. The next huge deadline is 2025, when they're aiming to use 100% recycled key stuff like cobalt and rare earths. It's all leading up to their 2030 goal, making their entire footprint carbon neutral.
And right here, this is where that big picture policy becomes reality. I mean, look at these numbers for recycling in their 2024 products. It's pretty incredible. 99% recycled rare earths in their magnets, 76% recycled cobalt. This is the circular economy in action. It's a direct answer to the supply chain problem because it creates a brand new source of materials from our own old gadgets.
And this is what it all adds up to. A carbon-neutral Mac Mini. It's a real thing you can buy that embodies all of these big ideas. It's made with over half recycled content and built using 100% clean energy. It's the tangible result of both government strategy and corporate action working together.
So let's pull all these threads together. What does all this actually mean for us and for what's coming next?
The most important thing to get is that this is all one big connected system. The tech in your pocket is powered by these critical materials. Governments are setting the rules for the race to get them. Companies are innovating like crazy to win that race in a sustainable way. And all of that creates this powerful feedback loop between policy, industry, and us, the people who buy the stuff.
You know, when we look at the tech we use every day, it's so easy to just see the polished glass, the screen, the apps. But just beneath that surface is this huge, complex global system that ties together geopolitics, environmental science, and cutting-edge innovation.
So our tech gives us this incredible connection to the entire world. But maybe the real question we should be asking is, are we connected to what our technology is actually made of? It's definitely something to think about the next time you pick up your phone.